What up, Baylor family? Welcome on in to a bonus edition of Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. I'm Justin Hoff, and today we're going to be doing a full season preview on Baylor soccer. We'll be joined later in the show by Head Coach Michelle Lenard. But first, I recently caught up with Sikkim 365's lead soccer writer, Jack Mackenzie, who has the inside scoop on this year's team. We are now joined by Jack Mackenzie, the lead soccer writer from Sikkim 365, and here to talk some soccer. And Jack, you know, every year Baylor soccer is the first sport to begin the season. That's got to be a lot of excitement for the program and the team. And obviously Michelle Lenard in her third season as the head coach here. What are some of your expectations as the season gets underway here soon?
Yeah, it's always fun seeing soccer get started. Love that they're the first sport. I think it's really sets the tone well for the Baylor athletics year. As far as expectations go for this team, they're really in year 3 of what I'd consider a proper rebuild schedule. Year 1 was rough, but they got things turned around. They set their foundation. They got their culture going. Year 2, they got back to 500, and they got back to the conference tournament. And now year 3, it looks like they should definitely be over 500, be pushing towards the top 6 or 5 probably in the conference, you know, getting towards that top third, and then maybe pushing for a little more. Winning a game in the conference tournament is on the list, but I think overall the goal that specifically Coach Lenard has mentioned and the players did before they went off to Starkville for the opener against Mississippi State is making the NCAA tournament. That really seems to be the goal this year.
How about for Coach Lenard? I know we're going to talk to her here on the preview, and it got to be big for her. 3 seasons now, or third season here. You get your, your scheme in. You know what your formations, what your system looks like. You get your players in. There's still a couple holdovers, but for the most part, she has her team together, and that's got to give her a lot of confidence as well.
Oh yeah, this roster is honestly looking a bit older now. Like it did look young. It did look inexperienced over the last couple of years, but now they've got underclassmen that have risen to become juniors. You've got players like Ashley Merrill who she's in her final year this year. She's a 5th year senior, I believe. And they're going to push. They know what they have to do this year. They really understand the system. They're all comfortable. They seem to be a really tight-knit group, at least from the outside. And I think all of that bodes well because they're returning a lot of production off last year's team. I think they're returning about 94% of their goals and 91% of their minutes from last year's team, which was a solid team. But moving forward, that means that they all learn from that experience, the shortfalls and the high moments, and they can take that all into this next year and hopefully take the next step.
You mentioned Ashley Merrill. You certainly can't talk about Baylor soccer without her. You know, she is one of those players that just has a knack for finding the back of the net, right? She just has the ability to put the ball on her foot and just score. And another key piece to this team is Tyler Isgrigg. She made the all preseason team in the Big 12, which is not easy to do now that there's 16 teams in the conference. So it's hard, but those are really the 2 key players for Baylor fans. If they're able to make it out to the game this weekend and follow along this season, those are 2 key cogs, right?
Oh, absolutely. Tyler Isgrigg led the team in points last year. You get 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. That's just in the stats books, but it's good to know. And then Ashley Merrill led the team in goals this past year. If I can pull up the numbers real quick, let's see. Yeah, Tyler had 6 goals and 9 assists, and Ashley had 12 goals and 1 assist. So very, very prolific attackers. They have a great combination. They love playing with each other. They understand the way each other move and what they want and their instincts on the field. And so they're probably only going to continue that this year. Hopefully they both take steps forward, but they're what you can count on in the Baylor soccer attack.
Of course, you got a great bundle at Baylor Plus and Sikkim 365, and you got a great article out right now on Sikkim 365 previewing the season. And don't want to give everything away, but past those 2 players, who's a player or 2 that you're keeping your eye on that could, step up this season?
Well, I think one of the most important players for the team just overall is going to be defensive midfielder Sky Leach. She plays in, if you're a soccer lover, you might know it as the 6 role or the the pivot role. She is going to be pulling the strings right in front of the defensive line and then helping transition into the attack. So her role is very, very important. She's probably taken, I believe she's taken some steps up this offseason. Coach Lenard talked about her becoming more of a vocal leader, which is very important in that role on the field. But if Baylor becomes a top-level team, it will be because she took that step up in her play. And, and then otherwise, in the attack, there's a lot of promising talent there. I could list off 5 or 6 names, but the one that I think is honestly a little under the radar, and I think Coach Lenard would agree with me, is sophomore forward Teresa McCullough. Or maybe she's a midfielder. She plays out on the wing, and she just has this instinct for goal. Honestly, I think that she's very similar to Merrill in that regard. She just knows how to get in dangerous positions and try and put the ball in the back of the net. And she's a pretty solid finisher. You've got other players that have probably taken steps this summer. Hannah Bowden in the midfield, Skylar Zinnicker at forward, Kelly Conrad at forward. There's a promising group of young attackers that will all be vying for minutes and all be pushing toward goal and hopefully scoring more than they did last year, which, I mean, most of them were freshmen last year, so that makes sense.
Yeah, all the fun starts tomorrow, 6:30 Central Time, SEC Network Plus, Mississippi State. So playing a Power 4 opponent here to begin the season. What do you see from Mississippi State, and how big of a challenge will this be for Baylor to come up with a W?
Oh, it's a big challenge, but it's a challenge that the Bears want, definitely. They're the number 18 team in the preseason coaches poll, which is like the poll to go to when you're looking for rankings in collegiate soccer. And they're a great team in the SEC. I believe they were the 2nd seed in the SEC tournament last year. They are they're big, they're physical. They have that, and they have skill. That's what the SEC is. They are one of the most physical top-level leagues out there. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be fast-paced. They're going to get up and down the field. They're going to try and bully Baylor. But I will say, I believe Coach Lenard's done a great job preparing the Bears. Back in the spring during exhibitions, they played Arkansas, last year's SEC champions, and they held them to a 2-2 draw, and they really looked competitive in a way that the Bears didn't quite look so competitive against top-level teams like maybe BYU or Texas last year at home in Waco. So it does look like the Bears have taken that step up, and I think it's going to be a great way to open the season. And also, I do think that the game might be available on ESPN Plus to ESPN Plus subscribers as well as SEC Network Plus.
Yeah, love the call out there. And then, of course, on Sunday, the home opener on ESPN Plus against St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies, we know them for basketball, but also playing some soccer here. And obviously, for this season, we saw the new locker room, but also new uniforms. I don't know if you've seen them all yet, but a lot of newness with the program, a lot of good energy. And so we'll see all that on Sunday against St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, I've seen the new whites. They look pretty cool. They've got that faded green design. Looks real nice. Haven't seen any greens or anthracites, which are colors that Baylor has worn in the past out on the soccer field. But it does seem like there's a lot of momentum around the program. Frankly, the vibes from Coach Lenard and the players, I haven't seen them so positive in the last 3 years. So it's great to see. It's going to be an exciting year. I think fans should really consider coming out to games. They're a fun way to spend typically Thursday or Sunday evenings. The vibes are great.
With looking good, look good, play good, feel good, all that situation going on. And, I think sometimes that might work a little bit. I mean, I know when you go back to school, and a lot of kids are going back to school right now, those first, month, you feel better when you're wearing those new clothes, right, that you went shopping for. So hopefully that leads to more goals for Ashley Merrill and Tyler Isgrigg and company. And they have a nice, preseason schedule. Then they'll get to the Big 12 play. And in the preseason poll, number 9 there. And, of course, we can't forget there's 16 teams in soccer. So, 9 being preseason poll ranked 9 3-4 years ago is a lot different than what it is today. How challenging is the Big 12? And, you obviously said at the top there that you feel like Baylor soccer could improve on that 9th preseason ranking.
Yeah, I honestly feel pretty confident that they can outplay that ninth ranking in the polls. But overall, the conference is very strong. While the Bears feel like they can beat anyone on any given day, which I tend to believe that there are some top-level teams in this conference, and it is a very deep conference. You've got BYU and Texas Tech as the two favorites in the conference. They're both in the preseason top 10 nationally at 3 and 8, respectively, I believe. And then TCU has been a great program for years. So that's the top 3 in the conference right now. But you also have newcomers, Colorado and Arizona State, predicted to be 4th and 5th. Coach Lenard was very, very quick to praise those programs, the way they're run and the quality they have on the field. So those will be exciting games. Meanwhile, UCF's definitely a solid program. West Virginia, they were one of those top programs in kind of what you might have to consider the old Big 12. So the programs ahead of Baylor in the preseason poll, they all make a good sense if you've been paying attention to Big 12 soccer over the last, 7 to 4 years. But I do think that the Bears are very competitive with each of those teams. And so the Big 12 schedule will be daunting, but they have every chance of competing at a high level and winning the majority of their games, pushing for possibly even a conference championship. But that would take a lot of success on the field.
Well, we've seen it before, obviously, from Baylor soccer. They've had a history of success in the program, of course, dating all the way back to late 90s. They were the first program to win a Big 12 title at Baylor. And so I would hope for, that's why they play the game, the matches on paper, it's one thing, but that's why you play the actual matches. And so we'll see how it shakes out. Oklahoma State, September 12th. That's the Big 12 opener. And they'll also see at home Arizona, Houston, Arizona State, West Virginia. That is the home schedule for them. But they're going to see a lot of those new schools, right? The Four Corners and The Four Corner schools. Obviously, we saw BYU last year, but the Four Corner schools, I mean, they're a deal that the Olympic sports they bring some power, and they're going to be something for Baylor fans to see all year long.
Oh yeah, of course. The Pac-12 as a conference, as we knew it, was very, very good on the Olympic sports, soccer included. While these teams might not be the national title contenders that UCLA can tend to be, or programs like that, they are very good. They all have every chance of making the tournament in any given year. So it should be exciting, and it's great to add them to the conference. It's great to have them in that Big 12 family. And those should be very fun, competitive matches to watch.
Of course, St. Bonaventure this weekend for Baylor soccer. I kind of scoffed over some of the preseason here. Texas A&M at the end of the month.
Another big ranked game that can help Baylor reach for an NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah, and always good to see Baylor and Texas A&M playing each other no matter what the sport is. A visit up to Dallas to take on SMU, and then a return from the home and home against Iowa. I did skip over a trip to Hawaii and Portland. And, I said at the top, lead soccer writer at Sikkim 365. Is Colt going to send you out to Hawaii?
Sadly, no. I also have plenty of duties covering the football team, which should be a lot of fun, but I won't be able to find the time nor the funds personally to get myself out to Hawaii.
I had to throw that in there. Little jab.
I wish, Justin.
It's on the schedule. I know the team obviously will be there, and they're going to enjoy it, and maybe hopefully a little cooler temps. I know we got hot temps coming, and soccer is something that sometimes they take the breaks out there, but going to be an exciting season, Jack. Really appreciate you hopping on here, and we'll stay tuned to your coverage on Sikkim 365.
Of course, happy to hop on, and happy to try and build up some energy around this team.
Follow Baylor Plus and Sikkim 365 today on X, Instagram, and Facebook, and sign up for the new premium content bundle. For the monthly price is $17.99, a $5 per month savings. Baylor fans can access the full offerings that both platforms offer: the long-form storytelling, video, and all-access behind-the-scenes content of Baylor Plus, and the premium news, analysis, and forums of Sikkim 365. Sign up today on either platform.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, leave a review, and tell your friends about us. Catch Colt and I on Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version free over at BaylorPlus.com or the official Baylor Athletics YouTube channel.
We're now joined by Baylor soccer head coach Michelle Lenard. Coach, really exciting. First off, what's it like to be the first Baylor athletics team that takes the field to competition to start the 24-25 season, which you'll start tomorrow against Mississippi State?
Oh, we love it. We love being first. We love being in season. We can't wait to get started. We'll be really excited when school's back in and we have more students on campus. But in the meantime, we're happy to get to play some games.
Of course, a lot of really good energy around your team right now. We see the new uniforms. Love those, by the way. And also a new locker room space. So a lot of really cool things. What was it like for the players to see that for the first time?
Well, we're really happy with the locker room. It's a nice upgrade. Obviously, our facility is wonderful already. We have a fantastic field. We just need a little updating in the locker room. So some lighter, brighter lockers, some improved lighting and sound in there, get the music hopping, which they love, of course. Some new graphics. Everything in there just looks fresh and new, and they love coming back to that during preseason. So obviously brand new uniforms. Everybody feels fresh and new and ready to get after the season.
Third season here at Baylor. What have you learned here the first couple years that maybe you can apply for year three to have a great year?
I think something that we know, we knew it 2 years ago too, but it's just even more evident now, is that, every game matters. And this very first game tomorrow against Mississippi State, for example, is just as important as our last conference game in November will be. And so it's really critical that we get off to a good start. We've learned the importance of experience. We have a more experienced team now that's got time playing together within our game model, our style of play, players that have had really good game experience over the last couple of seasons. And so a lot of the things that we knew to be true 2 years ago are still true. We're just in a better position now because we've had time to develop in those areas.
Wanted to ask you about, you mentioned some of your players and your, schemes and the install and everything. That is critical. I don't care what it is, business and just having kind of your squad out there. I'm sure this team in year three looks a lot more of what you thought it would look like and what you want it to look like right now, right?
Absolutely. I think we have a really clear identity in the way that we want to play the game. We have players that fit that style of play, that are very committed to it, that are fully bought in. I think the most important thing that we can be doing out there is all be doing the same thing.
Well, when you think of Baylor soccer and you think of any team, I know you got 33 players that are on your team. And so that's a lot. That's a lot right there.
It is.
We have a team about 19, 20, so I can't imagine 33. But two players in particular, two of my favorites to watch, Ashley Merrill and Tyler Isgrig. I like goal scoring, and these two are usually on one end of it, one maybe assisting and the other goal scorer. But those two are really fun to watch. I know our fans are going to enjoy watching them. What do those two players mean to your program?
It's really hard to define that. Ashley and Tyler are obviously great goal scorers. They can both create opportunities for their teammates and for each other. But they're more than that. They're great leaders. They bring just an incredible energy to training every day. They're highly competitive. They've got aspirations of playing after Baylor, and so they're motivated to continue to grow and not just win now, but continue to be the best players that they can be. And it's just contagious. When they're out there, they have both of them together have a really unique ability to compete at a high level and to have fun doing that. And so it's fun. The team has a lot of fun out there. They get after each other. They're competing. They hate to lose, and that's really evident when we're training. But Tyler and Ashley really represent that well for us. They uplift their teammates and they push them to make them better while they're trying to strive to become better as well. So they're two great kids that are super fun to coach, and they can do some really special things. But what's most fun is that they just continue to grow and get better. And so I think we're going to see a new level out of each of them this season.
Tyler Isgrig, of course, number 11, transfer from TCU, played last year at Baylor. Then Ashley Merrill, number 17, came to Baylor with you from DBU. And I wanted to ask you about number 18. Number 18, quite the story. Marissa Gray was, had some injuries, was out of soccer. And I'm going through the roster a couple weeks ago, Coach, and she pops up, and I'm kind of like, wait, what? I had to do a double take, and I had to ask Jerry Hill about her. But she is, in fact, back on the team. That's quite the story.
Yeah, she's back. It is quite a story. It's a unique situation for sure. One that serves the team well, and that is an awesome opportunity for Marissa to get kind of a second chance to come back and finish things out, hopefully, God willing, on her terms. We had an unfortunate injury in the spring to Blythe Obar, which was a significant loss to our back line. And Blythe will be back in a year, and we're really excited we get to have her for another season. But in the meantime, we really felt like, we have some younger players who can step into that role, but we really needed some experience and someone with some presence. And Marissa has that, and Marissa just wandered into the field house one day to say hello to us. She was in town for an FCA camp. She had no idea Blythe was hurt or anything that was going on. And I hadn't thought to call her. She just showed up and was talking to us. And, as she's talking, my mind's turning. I'm thinking, this girl still got eligibility. And she looked great. She looked fit. She said she was feeling good. She's felt as good as she's felt in years. And so some time off really helped her body recover from those injuries. So, long story short, after many conversations and a lot of prayer, both sides of things, it was worked out that Marissa could come back and play another year and get an opportunity to contribute to the program that she loves so dearly. And then the team loves her. She's such a great leader. She's got such a presence on the field. I mean, she instantly walked back. It was like she was never gone. She fit right in right away. And she's only played with this group really 1 year, most of them, and some of them not at all. But you would never know she was gone. So we'll need to be careful. We'll need to manage her load. We don't expect that she's a 90-minute player anytime soon. But she's a difference maker, both in the way that she plays and just in who she is as a person. Just awesome person and a really cool story. I'm praying goes really well for her.
Of course, 25 returners, 8 newcomers. 2023 saw your team go 9-7-3, finished 8th in the conference. We talked about Ashley Merrill. We talked about Tyler Isgrig. Those are 2 of 9 starters returning. And to have that experience, experience is a special thing. And having been through some of the wars, some of the ups and downs of a season, to have 9 of 11 returning starters out there on the field that you'll see possibly, that's got to be big. How important is that to this team?
Yeah, it's hugely important. We brought back a whole lot of people with a lot of experience. You mentioned those 2, but, the twins, Hannah and Hallie, and Sky playing in the midfield for us. Those 3 players are hugely important to our game model and the way that we do things. And they don't show up on the stat sheet much because they're not scoring goals. They actually score a couple every now and then, but they're not scoring like Ashley and Tyler. But they've now got 2 full years under their belt, and they've all continued to develop. Those 3 have played together since they were like pre-K. So their connection is really special. Obviously there's a set of twins in the mix, but we lovingly call them the triplets because they've been together since they were little bitty. And that's obvious when they're on the developed that chemistry with other players on this team as well. And so with those guys coming back and some of the other players we have returning, we feel really confident that just as we step on the field, I feel like a lot more things are kind of under control than were in the past. You got players who understand the game model at our level, in the Big 12 now for 2 years. Some of the nervousness and anxiety we were experiencing a year or 2 ago has just gone now, and we feel a lot more in control of that situation. So experience is big, and we're hoping that it pays off for us this year.
Mississippi State to start the season. Of course, they're top 20. This is a really good squad. You go on their home turf there. What kind of challenge is this going to be like? But even better to present it, an opportunity for your team to start off the season with a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in, playing a nationally ranked opponent right away. Mississippi State had a great season last year in the NCAA tournament, went a couple rounds deep. They're expected to perform well in the SEC this year. So they've got a good squad, and we feel like we match up really well. We're really ready for this game. We're excited. We feel the most equipped we have been since arriving at Baylor to play a schedule like we have. We have a tough schedule, and it all starts tomorrow. And tomorrow is not only a great opportunity to get a win on the road right away, but to test our team and really see where we are and figure out where we could potentially get exposed. So we look forward to the challenge. We feel like we have every right to be in this game, and we have a shot at winning it, and we're going to go in with that mentality.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it.
That'll do it for this bonus edition of Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. Don't forget to check out Jack's in-depth season preview article over at Sikkim365.com and subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. Sic 'em Bears.